Great. So good to have you here.
Cheers, Phil.
Yeah. So what we're doing, so I think I'm just going to kick off and be a little bit explicit about what it is we're doing today, because it's a little bit set up and also it's real. So the combination of the two things might need a little bit of explaining. So first of all, the reason that we're doing this is that we had a conversation and we thought it'd be really good to demonstrate what Sanctus coaching could look like to a potential company, or to somebody who's already, a company has already signed up and they might have a member of staff who wants to come in and experience coaching. And it might be good to watch back a little bit of an interaction of coaching to see what it could look like, yeah? So let's do a bit of designed alliance work. So I often do this with clients who I've never seen before, and I do when I go to the companies that I work in. So designed alliance really is working with you to really just have you feel safe. So what's really important for me as a coach is that you feel safe within this container of 15 minutes of this session. What I mean by safety is almost like having you be really aware that nothing that is said within this container is going to travel beyond these walls, you know. Slightly different in this circumstance because we're recording it on camera. But confidentiality, I want to say that, and that's a sort of prerequisite to any sort of interaction that we would have like this out in the field, as it were, okay? Slightly different circumstances here. So how are you feeling about that? If I were to say, okay, so nothing that is said here, I'll take away and speak to about with anybody. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, I think that's really important to hear. Like, the coaching sessions have had where that's been said. It's really important to know that, so you know that you can really bring whatever it is you want to bring that you probably don't bring outside of the walls.
Yeah.
I know, like we said, it's a bit different today, but generally, yeah, it's really important to know that.
Yeah, yeah. It's safety is hugely important because it means that, you know, if you feel safe enough, then in general, in my experience, what happens is that the person in front of you, you know, is able to unfold their own stuff and explore their own stuff. So that's a little bit of a prerequisite that kind of exists that we wouldn't normally talk about, me and a client, you know, but I think is important because we're sort of doing this for camera as well, yeah. So what we decided to do as well, as a kind of heads up, is do this as a 15-minute session where you're coming with no agenda, you're coming with no subject. Some people come to a coaching session where they have a very clear idea of what they want to talk about in those 15 minutes, 45 minutes actually. And some people don't, they just want to show up and they just have this sense that things want to be kind of aired or explored. So we're treating this 15 minutes as one of those, yeah? So how are you feeling? What's going on for you right now? Yeah,
I guess, like, obviously, to acknowledge the camera here, I do feel a bit nervous about that, I guess, in a way. Yeah, it's very different what we're doing. So yeah, I feel excited, but also nervous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's happening.
And I notice you're smiling as well.
I think I'm quite excited. I'm quite excited. It's the first time we're doing this kind of thing at Sanctus. We're filming it on camera, and I think, yeah, that this is kind of our product essentially. This is what we're selling, and you know, other businesses, you can go on their website and do a demo of the product, and you can see how shiny it is and how it works. But it's kind of hard for us to do that sometimes, and I think not everyone knows what we do. They know that we want to set up a mental health gym, but they don't know what we do day to day. So I'm quite excited that what we're doing here is what we do like day to day and what we put out, and I'm excited for people to see that. Yeah, it feels pretty cool.
Yeah, you can really see that as well. And knowing you as I do, so we vaguely know each other. Whenever I've met you and we've sort of connected, there's this real sense of mission and purpose with Sanctus for you. Like what I read from you is this, like, wow, you know, this guy's on purpose. He's doing this and it means something huge. Like, what does Sanctus mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's just like, that's the perfect way to describe it. Like, it's not, this isn't just a job to me, or it's not just about getting a paycheck or whatever. Like, this is, yeah, like, this is mission, purpose for me. Like, this is kind of my priority in life, really. And I guess a lot of people I hang around with don't always kind of see it the same way as that. They sort of see work as work, or it's just a paycheck, you know, to go on holidays or whatever it might be. And like, that's completely fine. But for me, yeah, I've always known I need a job where it's not a job where I'm like living and breathing it almost. Not to an unhealthy degree, obviously, but I guess I've never really been fully happy with the work I've done up until now. So now I'm here, it's just like, I'm a big ball of energy, you know.
Yeah. And I love your smile. It's so like, it is that. It's it's like the sun coming out, you know. And you're the guy who made this happen. So, you know, I get a sense that, you know, these things come easy to you because you are on purpose. Like you're on fire and you're doing work which is, you know, they have this phrase which is like, you know, making a dent in the universe or making a dent in the earth, you know. Like, and that sort of leads me, I guess, to a question like, what is it you want to be remembered for? What would be the legacy that you leave?
Yeah, I think, you know, something like building up Sanctus, changing the perceptions of mental health, whatever it is. I would never want to be remembered for, oh, he was a millionaire or a billionaire or he had loads of nice cars or whatever. Something that actually I feel has real meaning. I think it'd be incredible if, you know, in 10 years we have opened the world's first mental health gyms and changed perceptions for people and like genuinely changed it. That for me, I guess helping other people is what really drives me here. Yeah.
Has that always been the case throughout your life?
I definitely think I've always been like quite an empathetic person. Thinking back to kind of my uni time especially, people did come to me for advice. I always felt I provided a good ear and was able to kind of provide good advice, and I never really thought about that at the time, but a few people started commenting saying, oh, you're really good to come to for advice. So then it became like a bit of a thing. But being at uni, all I cared about was like the kind of the uni life, you know, partying, whatever it might be. And then I had in my head this vision of what happens after uni, and that was, I'm gonna get a job in London, up in the city, in a suit. I'm gonna earn loads of money. I'm gonna get a bigger house and big cars and, I don't know, a model girlfriend, and that's what you need to live. So I never thought about helping people as a job. And then I guess when I had my mental health issues, my real, you know, it got quite bad for me at some points. I know, like, you know, depression is quite dark anyway, but I guess I saw an even kind of darker side to it, where I had times when I couldn't remember my own name, I couldn't recognize my parents, that kind of really scary stuff. And then from that, you know, became really suicidal for quite a long time, like a long enough period of time that when I recovered, it just flipped my whole like worldview on its head, like so dramatically that I suddenly just didn't care about money anymore, or being rich or famous or whatever. And I think just going through what I'd gone through, and online I saw that a lot of the research out there and information was like terrible, or, you know, long waiting times for therapists or whatever it might be. I just had this like burning need to help people.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think it's always been there, but what I went through just really kind of lit that fire, you know.
That's beautiful. I just want to acknowledge like your willingness to be open and transparent about that. I had no idea about that, and I noticed how touched I am when you mentioned that.
No, yeah, I appreciate that.
How brave you are to say that.
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time. Like, when I first started suffering from mental health issues, I didn't talk about it for I don't think I talked about it for about 11 months to anyone. I didn't tell anyone because I was way too scared of what people were going to think. And then some people noticed I was being a bit off, but they didn't acknowledge they didn't notice mental health issues. So then I really reluctantly started opening up to people, and then, you know, that whole thing was like 2 years of me kind of keeping it a secret from most people. And then when I got better, I was like, I can't talk about that. Like, I don't want people to know that I was weak or not a real man or whatever it was. And then, I went traveling, and while I was traveling, I just had this moment. I'd escaped London and like the day-to-day routine, and you know, just I was kind of got out of the trenches, and I got away to a different country. And while I was out there, I was like, do you know what? It doesn't actually matter if people know what I've been through. Like, that's just that's just what happened. That's just my life. Like, I'm not going to hide behind it. So then I started sharing, and it was really difficult at first. I remember the first time I put out like a Facebook post, you know, as everyone does. I felt really nervous, like really, my hands were sweating, and my heart was going. It was like I was having a panic attack almost.
Yeah.
But then the reception was amazing. Like, you know, no one criticised me for it.
No.
And I think I just saw from that there's something really valuable in sharing kind of the difficult stories, because everyone will share the easy stuff, right? Like we'll all share the smashed avocados on toast on Instagram, but then people don't want to talk about, do you know what, I felt really shit today, or I felt depressed, or I'm grieving, or whatever it might be. So I think when I could start to see how powerful it was, just sharing my story to my small group, I was like, actually, this is really beneficial. So
I'm really curious, actually, if I may just interject.
Of course.
I'm really curious about what. So this is quite a coachy question. Like, what did you make more important than looking good, that you would share that with the world, with your inner circle?
What became more important for me?
Yeah, you know, because as you say, you did a really good job of kind of. It almost feels like you went traveling and almost to get away in a way, in a big geographical sense and a psychological sense too. I don't know. I'm just what comes up for me, but it does feel like. There's that bravery again, you know, when you post it out on Facebook. That's not a light thing to do. So what was it that happened internally where you said, do you know what, I'm going to share this?
I think I did get away, like primarily for psychological reasons, in that once I'd gone through my really, really difficult period, like, you know, all the kind of can't remember my name, can't leave the house, suicidal thoughts, that kind of thing, the really bad period. Then I was like, I have to focus on myself. So that's when I really went into therapy and exercising, meditation, gave up alcohol, all that kind of stuff. And I did that for about 8 months, and it was really, really kind of long.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like, when I think back on it, it was a really, really long process. And like, I'd gone through CBT therapy, and part of that wanted me to, whenever I had a negative thought, I had to write down the negative thought in a journal, and then kind of look at, you know, how it probably wasn't a realistic thought, and then reframe it as positive. And the whole point of it was to reframe my brain, like, with positive thoughts. But when I first started doing that, these negative thoughts were literally coming probably every like 30 seconds. So I was religiously having to journal, and because I wasn't working, I was probably, my whole day was literally negative thought, journal it, get like 20 seconds to watch TV, and then the thought would be back. So it just, those 8 months were relentless. And then I got a lot better, but I hit a ceiling. I knew that I was 80% better, but the 20% I knew it wasn't going to happen at home in my routine. And you know, like, obviously I love my parents, but they'd obviously seen me as, you know, being really depressed. So I knew that when I saw them, they were probably thinking, oh, how is he today? And I just knew I needed to get away. So I got away, and then it was really, really good for me that it was the final push I needed, and suddenly I was better again. And I remember just feeling like I had my life back. I felt like I'd been this other person for 2 years that dropped off the radar, and like, I didn't think I was going to make it to my 22nd birthday. I genuinely thought like I was going to, take my own life before that. So then I just while I was away, suddenly I was like, I've got my life back.
So I just want to pause for a minute. This is big stuff you're talking about. And maybe if this doesn't feel too strange, like, can you close your eyes for a moment and just sort of take a big breath and sort of just breathe into your stomach, and just sigh, give yourself a nice big sigh. And just sort of let it go. Yeah, one more. Okay.
I'll keep my eyes shut.
Yeah, if it feels right to do so, if it feels good to do so. Because okay.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, oftentimes we can tell a story around it, and we can talk about it a lot easily. It's almost like that is that is the way that the brain goes around it. But I'm wondering, I'm really curious as to how you're feeling now in this moment.
Yeah, I actually feel a bit more nervous. I don't think I didn't, like, I share a lot of my mental health story, obviously working at Sanctus, but I guess I've never really like shared the long version in, I guess, like a coaching space or whatever. And
so I'm just going to build on this, if I may. Yeah, and it's safe. I
course.
I hope you feel that it's safe. Yeah. So just for a moment, again, close your eyes, just for a moment, if it feels safe to do so. Yeah. And when you say you feel nervous, or it feels nervous, can you just put your hand on that place where it feels?
Yeah, it's right, like
great.
My chest.
Okay, so I'm going to do that too. And I just want to encourage you not to change it, but to actually breathe into that space. And bring your awareness down into it. And almost, if we had a torch and we could look in there and see it, what do you notice is in there?
It feels a bit kind of like dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit black.
Yeah, a bit black. So we're looking around, it looks a bit black.
In my head I've just got this like image of a big cave, big space, open, dark, black space.
Yeah, yeah.
With my heart in the middle, that's what I'm seeing.
With your heart in the middle, yeah. And I noticed that you're smiling slightly as well. I wonder if it's just nervousness or just...
yeah, it probably could be.
Just noticing, I'm just reflecting back once.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job here. So if you had to reach out and feel the texture of that cave on the wall, like, what would the texture be like?
I literally have in my head like a cave, like rock. Yeah. Kind of like, kind of harsh rock, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So quite sort of sharp, or
yeah.
It would cut
rough.
Bit rough, yeah. Okay. So just stay with this for a moment and just allow it in. What do you notice? What's here now?
I feel better as I'm kind of like focusing on it.
Yeah.
As I'm more aware of it and I'm just kind of breathing into it. Yeah, it doesn't seem I don't feel so nervous.
Yeah. What colour is it now?
I'm actually finding it harder to picture it now. I can't really. Before it was quite vivid. I can't. It all feels a bit blurry now. That's probably how I'd best describe it.
What's the emotion that you would feel in this moment? What's here?
I'm starting to feel more relaxed.
Okay.
Definitely. My heart's slowed down.
Yeah. You kind of feel softer over here. There's a sort of softness, soft focus, yeah?
Yeah, that feels right.
What is possible from here for you?
In what sense?
What does it feel like moving forward from this moment? Yeah, you can open your eyes if you want.
I feel like I can move forward with it. I feel like I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I feel like I was happy sharing, and then I think when we acknowledged it, I took a stop. I was like, oh, actually, my heart's going a little bit. My arms are a bit sweaty. What could you see something?
No, I was just checking in with you. I guess you know, with all transparency, it's kind of like oftentimes we can talk a story around these things which are difficult to look at sometimes. And what I noticed you did, because I feel that you're really eloquent and you have wonderful words, and you tell a good story, not to undermine that in any way. It was beautiful and it was captivating, and I felt like it was up here. And then I was curious as to what was happening here. It's almost like when I was looking at you, I could see your head moving. This was all animated, and this was all quite fixed and rigid.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do this when we're erecting a barrier. It's almost like holding up a shield. Well, I can see, like, you know, you have a beautiful heart, and you know, I wanted to see that, I guess.
No, I respect that. I guess, yeah, I share the story a lot, but maybe not like always in such detail. So
yeah,
I think maybe talking about it actually, when I really talk about it and I really think back to the time, and like, for instance, I don't always talk specifically about the journaling I had to do pretty much every single minute. I don't talk about that much, really. I talk kind of high level, like when I do my kickoffs of businesses or whatever, like, yeah, I had depression, suicidal thoughts, here I am now kind of thing. When I go kind of micro and talk about, just remembering back, every minute, every couple of minutes having to like reframe this negative thought.
Yeah.
I think that's when I feel the tension, because I get transported back to that place where I just felt like I had no life, and it was just focused around, am I going to get better? And I think to kind of like lead on to your question of what changed for me, that's really what changed. That I had to go through all of that, which I think people see the high level stuff like, oh, he was depressed, he got better, but when I broke it down day to day, like that day to day journaling, and and it was just it'd gone on for so long, and then once I got away and I just remember feeling this like amazing sense of freedom, really, really free, coupled with the fact where I was in Asia, so it's really, really cheap, so I was free in terms of like what I could spend. I could stay in like nice hotels. I wasn't, bound by London rent prices. And I think just suddenly, I could just feel my whole life flipped in its head, and I realised actually, like I said, money and that kind of thing wasn't important anymore. But what I really became free of as well, which has been so good for me, was like free of real kind of judgment. I think at uni I was obsessed with what people thought of me. That was kind of where a lot of my happiness came from, to be honest. I think what people thought of me, what girls thought of me especially, I think I needed that for validation. And then I wouldn't want certain things to go out on Facebook, certain photos, if it doesn't make me look too good, or I was obsessed with that. And I think this whole period I went through, I remember just being away and, like I said, all those things, I just had this sense of, do you know what, I don't actually really care what people think anymore. Like there'll always be I think a natural human thing where we do obviously care to a degree what people think, but I felt really, really, really free, and I was just like, do you know what, I will share on Facebook. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, I had a friend who knew what I'd gone through, and he basically set up this blog where he wanted to share people's stories, and he said, can I share your story, but we'll do it anonymously. And I don't know what happened, I just went a bit rogue, and I was like, no, we're not doing it anonymous, like we're going to put my name on it. And it was like really empowering.
Well, that's a really important point. I'm aware of the time, and I know that we're going to bring this in so that we keep to time and honour your 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And there's a lot we could talk about. It's amazing because I think we've almost done 20 minutes or so. But
I could keep going for hours.
I know, I know, and that's.
Should we stay? Should we stay for a few hours?
It'd be amazing to do that. I would love to do that. Why it's my career. Right?
But, you get to do it every day.
But one thing that was really important, I think, so we talk about values a lot as coaches. We talk about values, and values are these kind of like what's imbued, what's wrapped up in your DNA that has you feel alive and has you feel vital in the world. And you use the word freedom a lot. And it's almost like when a coach uses the word freedom a lot or uses a word a lot, it's almost like, can you hear it? This is important to me. Reflect it back to me so that I remember. So I'm noticing you say freedom a lot, and because of the purposes of time, I want to kind of draw this in, and it's almost like leave you with maybe a bit of accountability or something to explore, which might be like to journal for like 10 minutes or something, because it feels like journaling is good for you as a great way of expression and unfolding what it is that's there for you. So it's almost like my request or invitation might be to, what does freedom mean to me? What does freedom offer my life if I pursue it, if I say yes to it? Would that be something you'd be willing to journal around?
I like the sound of it. I think, I guess I didn't realise I kept saying freedom, but as you said it back to me, I was just thinking about different parts of my life, and it is something I really value. Like, I get freedom in my role. I work under George, but he gives me a lot of freedom with my role. I think I like that. I don't want to be micromanaged.
You definitely like that.
Yeah.
You can see you beam when you talk about
I think I like.
And you also give the gift, and not to open this up again because we're bringing it in, and I know that it will be easy to do so, but it sounds like you also offer the gift of freedom to others as well, because I just want to reflect that back. What I noticed when you were talking about the blog post, it's like, no, we're not going to do it anonymously, we're going to do it with my name. You were offering freedom and transparency to the world, Really brave thing to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think like what we were saying, I never thought I would have been anything like that, but I feel like that was my old life. I just gave it all up. I gave up the worries about the judgment and what people might think, and I just realised that I can help more people if I I can help people have a better life if I'm just more free and open and transparent and
perfect.
Like whatever it might be. So I still maybe will put up the photo of like smashed avocados on Instagram, but I think it's really important to show
thing,
the other side.
All range.
The days when maybe I feel a bit shit or whatever it might be. Yeah.
So let's draw that to a conclusion there.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you, really. Thank you for being so transparent in this, you know, in this time that we've had together. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I feel like I've got stuff out, which is good.
Cool.
Yeah. Cheers, Phil.